Got a question for you. When was the last time you felt rejected? Maybe you just gone through a breakup. Maybe someone hurt your feelings, said something. I don't know. Hopefully you had a great President's Day. We're in Romans 11, and it's talking about rejection here. That's what the Lord put in my heart. And it opens up with this question in verse 1. Paul is asking, what? Well, he's asking, have God cast away his people? Cast away means rejected. And what does he answer? With his favorite response, God forbid, absolutely not. And that's what he's saying to you, child of God, young man, young woman, older, whoever you are. God has not rejected or cast you away. He accepts you. He has you as his beloved, not rejected. I think we need to deal with this because with the increase, oh my goodness, of so many people who do not know how to deal with these feelings. And when they get fired or when they feel some type of these negative emotions, they get a gun and snap and go back to their old employer because they got, rejected, right? Or, well, I saw this movie this afternoon, Academy Award nominated Green Book. And please go see it. It's a wonderful movie about this genius man who was a concert pianist during the Jim Crow era, where, even though he was playing the classical piano to the masses, the rich shishi poo-poo crowd as a black man, but he couldn't even eat in these fine restaurants and these establishments. He couldn't stay in these hotels. And I'm hearing that this is, similar to Nat King Cole's life, but it is based on an actual person who lived this life as a pianist. Don't you know that he felt rejection? And there was a line in a movie where he said, I don't, I'm not black enough. I'm not white enough. I'm not man enough. Well, what do you think people do when they don't feel like they're not anything and not enough? Those are feelings of rejection. Well, guess what? In chapter 11 in Romans, God gives us some measures. When Elijah was feeling rejected, when Jezebel was threatening his life, within 24 hours, you're toast because you killed my prophets, right? What did God say? Listen, I have a remnant, 7,000 who have not bowed down to Baal. Do not feel alone. Okay, that's what the enemy wants you to feel. So that is in verse 4. And in verse 5, God says, I have a remnant according to the election of grace, kindness. God always have some people who will look out for us when we're feeling low, sad. Listen, not all the abolitionists from slavery were black. There were white people who were against slavery who would look out for blacks trying to escape. Hello, Underground Railroad. Those were not all of African American, especially. Those were black, white folks too. So God has remnant wherever we are, whatever situation, people who are willing to be kind. In verse 17 and 18, it talks about the importance of us staying connected to the root, right? The plant, right? The vine, right? Because Jesus is the true vine and our Father God is the husbandman, gardener. He might snap and tell us to get rid of some things that doesn't please him, but it's only to purge us so that we'll bring forth more fruit. That's in John 15, 1, 2, and 3. Check that out. So don't feel rejected just because you're going through some trials. No, it's for God to get the glory and for us to bring forth more of the good in our life, and so that he is pleased with our fruit. And oh my goodness, it's so much. But in verse 33, just know that God has unsearchable riches, right? His wisdom, his thoughts are not our thoughts, right? We can't even fathom his plan. So when we're feeling like, oh my goodness, he hates me. No, God has a plan. In fact, it says in verse 33 of chapter 11 of Romans, it says, oh, the depth of the riches, another R word, both of the wisdom and knowledge of God. So know that he has a remnant. We're not rejected, but we're accepted by the beloved. Know that we have to stay connected to the root. even when he wants to remove some things for his glory, and know that he has riches in store for us, and let us be part of that remnant. I hope you have a wonderful evening serving the Lord and not being rejected, but rejoicing in his love. Good night.